sticky bomb which has been applied. No, barely making it. But it is going to be in need of repairs, and further Panzer Grenadiers on the field. Upgrading with Panzer when all his enemies relying on his heavily riflemen, perhaps not the best idea. And lost the armored car. This is certainly looking awfully grim. Another armored car, and Panzer when they aren't needed. Certainly not with this heavy infantry focus, and now we're seeing Rangers. Not entirely sure what Rjgamer's idea is with this 160th Panther Division, but really so far it's not doing a lot of good, doesn't really have a lot of strength anymore. Most of the Panzer Grenadiers, which are supposed to act like the backbone, are gone. Caught out in the open numerous times and not pulled out in time, instead being cut down by BAR fire. And he's trying to rely on armored cars, which aren't really frontline units and will quickly succumb to the larger rifleman hordes, and now Rangers as well. He's not really trying to focus his forces. And I apologize for anyone, this is not your stream going on, it is my own. Apparently someone is trying to contact me, but that will have to wait. Further armored cars and a new Kettenkrant. This is rather heavy losses, although now one armored car seems to be doing some damage to the riflemen. And we see a combined rifle ranger force moving out towards the center, going to catch the Panzer Grenadiers unless they pull out in time. Armored car catching this team of riflemen out in the open. Pulling back in good order, opening fire on the riflemen. Should pull back again, yes, out of sticky bomb range. And the Panzer Grenadiers retreat right through the horde of rangers and riflemen, instead of retreating backwards towards this position where the armored car could have provided some heavy fire support. Riflemen seem completely annihilated, leaving behind 2 bars. He really should consider getting some of his Panzer Grenadiers to pick up those 2 BARs, since it will vastly improve their firepower, and indeed are doing so. We see infantry company going up, call in Rangers available. 1 Ranger team on the field with Thompson submachine guns, going to prove a lethal combination, and a veterancy 2 rifleman squad, meaning they are more accurate and take lot less accuracy as receive fire, that is themselves. Moving out, the armored car is going to have a bit of a trouble, I suspect. Doing some damage though, but is going to have to retreat a bit of a bad area to move in. Plenty of trees that are going to obstruct movement. And the Panzer Grenadiers have picked up the 2 BARs, improving their firepower vastly. Rjgamer somehow recovering from his bad position, although now trying to repair the armored car. Doing fire, you should not do that, it only allows them to kill this man more easily, and they should retreat. No. Incendiary grenade going off. Ranger down, dropping a bazooka. 2nd armored car up and knocked out. Oh dear. He really should get a bit better and not stopping his armored cars a bit too close at the enemy. It's a bit of a nasty habit. And now these Panzer Grenadiers aren't doing anything. Perhaps waiting the arrival of this Panzer Grenadier team. Nothing to hold the eastern half except this armored car, which is now rushing in for no apparent reason. I hope he's probably conducting some scouting and trying to keep an eye of enemy movements in the eastern half of the forests. Push in the west, armored car alongside some Panzer Grenadiers. Going to encounter the Rangers, the 2nd Ranger team in fact, with Thompsons as well. Armored car not moving in, just ignoring that half. Incendiary grenades going off at the Rangers, forcing them out of their cover. Panzer Grenadiers not focusing on them, allowing the Rangers to move up while the riflemen pin them. 2nd Panzer Grenadier team moving up too close. Incendiary grenade going off, going to have to retreat. No, before it is killed. Makes it out of it alive. And it seems like a observation post has gone up on the fuel point, which is being dealt with by the armored car. And now the other armored car is moving in much too late, I think. should have stayed behind when the actual fighting broke out instead of moving in now where there is no Panzer Grenadiers to support, meaning it's going to be the priority target and nothing to mitigate that at all.
We have a secured sector under attack.
A bit of bad combined arms maneuver, I think, and now we see Rangers and Riflemen moving up through the forest, opening fire on the Kettenkrad. Is he going to move it out, or is this going to be another of many Kettenkrads lost under his command, their names never to be known? Armored car pulling out in good order. Another armored car skulking around in the west, trying to fall upon this rifleman team and do some damage, killing some in fact. Now we see a movement of Panzer Grenadiers moving out through the east, having actually regained some of what he has lost, although at the same time he certainly could have done better to minimize losses. I certainly have recommended going for an Panzerjäger support command and perhaps trying to get some Panzer force, but that doesn't look like to be the case. He's instead relying on the much lighter armored cars, which do have some advantage, but at the same time they can easily be knocked out, leading to a very expensive bill in the end. Rangers moving ahead, going to catch the Panzer Grenadiers out in the open. They stop up, creating a screen for the armored cars, which is certainly a good idea, or at least I thought they did. Instead, they move behind it, setting up the armored cars an easy target, wrecking it. And really, why on earth did he not stop these Panzer Grenadiers and set up a line to stop these Rangers? Instead, he has suffered needless losses because he apparently decided to just focus on this victory point instead of actually defeating the enemy. This is a bad thing, ladies and gentlemen. You want to focus on the enemy when you can and force him away. You do not want to just ignore a Ranger squad like that. And he's going to lose another armored car to this foolish movement, I think. Yes, another armored car out, giving the Rangers veterans he won. He's not entirely sure what his German commander is up to. He seems to be lacking some coordination and tactical understanding of things. Armored car driving past the wreckage of the older one, and is now going to have to pull back. Rangers suffering some losses, but veterans A2 rifleman team and nearby. Panzer Grenadiers not moving up to support, and off-map combat group being made available for the 4th Infantry Division along with the 6th Ranger Battalion. Rangers lead the way, ladies and gentlemen. And we see a Panzer support command going up for Rjgamer. He has also gone for headsets, although those are not going to be helping him at the moment, seeing as they have very little capability of dealing with infantry at all. And since he has the Panzerjäger command, he'd been better off getting Martyrs in that case. But that is his choice, not mine. Just saying, I would rather have gone for Martyrs in this case. Armored car moving out, being dangerously close to the rifleman. Panzer Grenadiers moving out, not stopping up, instead just trying to move past the rifleman. Standing out in the open, bad move. Incendiary grenade going off though, and burning away at the rifleman, which is certainly causing some losses. Armored car suffering bazooka fire and pulling back in the face of the Rangers with Veterans U1. Panzer Grenadiers moving out. No MP44s though for the German commander. That surprises me a bit, since those could actually be a bit useful. Not a heavy emphasis, but still some can do quite a lot alongside some Gewehr 43s and BARs to provide long range fire support. But that is apparently not to be. Panzer Grenadiers caught out in the open. Going to have to pull back. Incendiary grenade going off. And he has numerous Panzerschreck squads, but not really anything focusing specifically on this sort of Rangers and Riflemen. That's not the best choice, I think. And a Panzer IV being produced finally. Some actual armor to deal with all of this, and hopefully he gets some armor skirts for it as well, since that will mitigate the damage of the bazookas and allow it to withstand a lot more damage. And yep, Panzer IV on the field, going for the machine gun upgrade, not something I'd recommend since that and most machine guns except this on the Stug and Geschützwagen are for the most part quite useless. Armored cars suffering bazooka damage. Panzer grenadiers moving in from the open, not the best idea. They're going to be facing a lot of damage. Incendiary grenades going off. Grenade on the other hand forcing a full rout. Perhaps not the best. Panzer IV out. And we see an armored car from the American. And it suffers quite some damage from the armored car. The Panzer IV in fact. Compelling a retreat, but now a anti-tank gun is moving up in support. Rear hit on the armored car from the Panzer IV. Anti-tank gun hitting the hill and a damaged engine on the armored car. And the anti-tank gun has been registered, compelling Rjgamer to pull back, and currently he holds 2 of the victory points, but his victory point reserve is quite low. Numerous Panzer Grenadiers, further armored cars in fact. Heavy emphasis on those all of a sudden to augment his forces and possibly deter any raiding attempts by the Panzer commander of the 116th. Riflemen moving out under the cover of the anti-tank gun. Probably going to go for that fuel point. Massimaliano have a vast quantity of fuel stockpiled, in fact certainly advantageous. And we see engineers going for the central victory point while rangers and riflemen move up to support this armored car, the M8 Greyhound.
Initiating defensive operations.
And we see an armored car moving up to try and push away those engineers. Engineers reporting they are getting the piss pounded out of them and pulling back to confirm that. Armored car probably going to move in. The American armored car easily being able to deal with the Panzer Elite armored car with its 37mm gun, although apparently stopping up. Full stop. But now a infantry force moving in from the west, probably going to envelop the German forces who are going to be sandwiched in between and caught in a very nasty maneuver. Mortar half-track, that's certainly going to be interesting to support things. And now the Germans are going to be caught from behind, unless of course he moves in the Panzer IV to try and support them. It's going to get very costly, I think. Armored car pushed back in face of Panzer Schreck fire. Panzer Grenadiers retreating through the American forces, and while the rest of the forces moving up towards the north with the other American troops right at their heels. It's going to get very ugly, I think. The armored car is probably going to be lost to bazooka fire, yes indeed. And a full rout now from the German forces. Do not hold most of the map by now. The Americans having the definite advantage.